Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So as you guys can see, we're back with a supplementary guide for Rakan support. And as you guys can also see, if you maybe skip back 5 seconds, we've put his build up on the screen over the gameplay as we're walking to lane. And it's only up there for 8 seconds, so you might have to pause the video if you want to see the exact build. But I basically decided that at this point, patch 4.4, a lot of leaks have been coming out already, and majority of the builds I'm going to cover in my videos are going to be irrelevant anyway, so there's no point wasting like 5 minutes to explain the builds in depth. We might as well just jump straight into the gameplay, and we don't have to talk too much about the builds, but you can, of course, see the builds and use the builds if you guys want to. Before we have even said our intro, our Ezreal has already managed to die level 1 to Caitlyn, and here I managed to take a lot of poke as well and barely make it out alive. I probably should have died here, but Caitlyn kind of messes up the flash auto. Flash is a little bit too late, and yeah. So for the rest of the videos I'm going to make from now until patch 4.4 releases, this is going to be the way I'm making them, which is I'm just going to show you guys the gameplay. I'm going to talk about the gameplay, and I might talk about the build itself during the gameplay, because some parts of the build are still going to be relevant. Of course, there are going to be new items, there are going to be removed items, but of course, a lot of the build is still likely going to remain the same. You guys saw I took Banshee's Veil as my last item, which I don't believe I actually get to in this match even, but Banshee's Veil is an item that I think is going to be actually removed in the next patch, which is pretty unfortunate. But the main point of discussion here is this build is basically identical to the full AP Rakan complete guide. And if you guys want a build explanation, you guys can actually just go there for the build explanation, because it's the same build explanation. The only thing that has changed is instead of taking Electrocute, I've taken First Strike. So I'm definitely going to launch into a discussion on Electrocute versus First Strike. But first we're going to launch into a discussion about this lane. So here you can see Aurelion Sol's coming in for the gank. We managed to actually pick up the kill onto Caitlyn. Seraphine's on the run, but unfortunately, despite her having no mana, she still has a lot of health. And she is able to scale away to the tower. So by the way guys, this Ezreal is pretty horrible. I mean, obviously he died level 1, and that's pretty horrible already, but you can see that the Ezreal is not a very good player. And you can see that the Aurelion Sol, you guys don't know this, but Aurelion Sol is actually, I think, like top 50 Aurelion Sol on the server, so I've already taken note of that in the loading screen. And basically at a certain point in the game, I'm basically gonna ditch the Ezreal and start following Aurelion Sol around, because obviously he's the one who's good and he's the one who can get something done. And this is a very important skill you guys have to pick up if you want to play support, which is that you don't want to be supporting the guy on your team who is bad. You want to be supporting the guy on your team who can carry you and carry the team to victory. So here, another beautiful lane gang comes in from Aurelion. So he picks up the kill onto Caitlyn. Caitlyn has nowhere to run, isn't able to trade onto Ezreal, and essentially another really good play by Aurelion Sol. So here Aurelion Sol together with our jungler Nautilus trying to make a play onto Olaf, running into a little bit of trouble here, ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, which in this case I think is fine, because our Nautilus is building full tank, and Aurelion Sol, as I said, is going to be the main one who's going to carry us. And of course it's not because he's top 50 that he's going to carry us, but because you can already see from his gameplay in the first like few minutes of the game that he knows what he's doing, and he's going to be the one to carry us. So I'm focusing on, you can see I'm roaming to mid. Here I tried to go all in onto Caitlyn, but Aurelion Sol apparently is more interested in the wave, so a little bit of a miscommunication there. Obviously this is solo queue, so you can't have perfect communication with your teammates. I thought we could go for the kill, but he was more interested in getting the wave, which is not exactly wrong either, but he does end up eventually getting the kill on Caitlyn. And here I end up dying to the tower as I'm trying to help my team get the kill on Vladimir, which is a little bit unfortunate. Olaf is going to be a pretty huge problem for our team, because as we know, Aurelion Sol being the main carry can get easily run down by Olaf. If Olaf is hitting Aurelion, means that Aurelion is not hitting Olaf, because obviously we know how Aurelion Sol's damage works with those rings. Anyways, now that we've talked all about who we are supposed to actually be supporting this match, you can see we're once again just following Aurelion Sol. We're going to talk about the First Strike versus the Electrocute discussion. So what are the benefits of Electrocute? The benefits of Electrocute is it cannot get removed by enemies. First Strike can get removed by enemies, of course, but Electrocute can't. So with Electrocute, you're always going to have it whenever you need it, and it's always going to be there. And the kind of drawback of Electrocute is that it focuses only on one person. So this is both a pro and a con, because the pro is if you can focus it onto the enemy ADC or the enemy mage, you can instantly eliminate them, and it's probably going to do more single target damage than First Strike. However, the pro of First Strike is that it can apply on like potentially 5 people at one time. And also, it increases your damage onto all of them, and it gives you gold. So really, in my opinion, between First Strike and Electrocute, it's sort of personal preference. Now, personally, as of right now, I'm actually leaning towards Electrocute, because I find that First Strike in the early game provides you almost no value. In late, it's gonna permanently be down because the enemy ADC is always gonna remove it off of you. But in like mid and late game, the amount of damage value and gold value you get from First Strike is absolutely insane. You guys will see that a little bit later on, how insane the First Strike value can actually be. But for now, in the early game, it's pretty useless, whereas in early game, Electrocute is a lot more useful, and even in late game, Electrocute still is a really good rune. It's a lot more consistent than First Strike. So basically, the way I like to see it is that Electrocute is a lot more consistent in terms of it will always do what you want it to do, whereas First Strike is a lot more inconsistent, but it has very high highs and very low lows, in the sense that what I mean by high highs is if you get like a 4-5 man First Strike combo, you're gonna destroy them. Speaking of which, here I'm just comboing this Vladimir. You can see I managed to basically chunk him 100 to 3/4 with one combo. Of course, not quite in one-shot range just yet. But First Strike also has the low lows of, imagine you're trying to go for an engage, you get hit by a random like Varus arrow, for example, or a random Ziggs bomb, and you're gonna have no First Strike. You essentially have no rune, and it's worse than Electrocute because you obviously do 0 damage when your First Strike is off a cooldown. So yeah, it's basically a lot about personal preference. But I can definitely see the argument for going for one or the other. Definitely both of them make sense, all in their own way. So here you can also see that this match is going to be a very long one. It's going to be a banger. You can see the video is like nearly half an hour, and it's because this game makes it to a really late game. So you can see the full extent of how Rakan works. Here we're going for a gank on the Garen. Garen's really low. Wukong decides to commit in. I decide to commit in as well. And Garen hits the silence on me. I die to the tower. Wukong for some reason walks back and dies to the tower as well. Actually, on hindsight, that was a good move because Olaf was coming. He couldn't escape anyway, so he ends up not giving Olaf a kill or an assist. So good move by the Wukong in hindsight. At that point in time, I was wondering what was he doing. Why is he walking back into the tower? But yeah, turns out to be actually a really good move by him. Here, Ezreal and Nala's on the chase for Seraphine, but Hook whiffs, so no kills to be had. So once again, you can see I'm just following my Aurelion Sol. With me around, I pretty much can guarantee that he can kill somebody, because with his Q and with the rest of my CC, it generally should be the case that we can chain CC someone and that person should die. So here Aurelion puts down the, or is it Wukong puts down the Herald for the mid lane. Unfortunately, no plates left already, but we still get the mid lane tower. It is Aurelion Sol's Herald. Looks like we can get a second crash as well, because Vladimir is really low, he can't defend, and second crash does come in. Unfortunately, Olaf is just running down the Nautilus. Now here I make a mistake, which is I actually try to go back and help him, which ends up killing me, and I end up wasting basically everything, my ultimate, my flash, everything. Is a really bad move by me now. Obviously Aurelion Sol was, not Aurelion Sol, Olaf was in his ulti, so there was really no way I could stop him, so I should have cut my losses, W'd away, and not tried to save the Nautilus, just let Nautilus die. It's definitely better than the situation we have here, which is I tried to save Nautilus to no avail. I'm now in trouble. I flash, I ult, I still die. It's a complete disaster, a disastrous chain of events for my team, because not only did we both die, but we also blew everything basically. So really bad play from on my part. Yeah, sometimes, sometimes the best play as a support is not to support, but to just, minimize losses. So now here we're going for revenge. Olaf has no good way out. We get the knockup on him. He has nowhere to run, or so we think. So here he ends up going for the fruit. I commit the ult again, ensure Aurelion Sol can finish up the kill and pick up the shutdown onto Olaf. And here, potential dive onto Garen again. Last time did not go so well. This time, we're trying to do it again. Does not go very well either. Yeah, Garen's a really tanky chap, so we're not going to be able to take him down really easy. He's also pretty fat, 5-2 at this point in time. And once again, I'm going to remind you guys that, we're playing support. Despite the fact we're playing full AP with First Strike, we are still playing support. And we are not going to be the ones who's going to carry our team. Like, maybe if we hit like a 5-man ulti into W combo, that can carry the fight, but that's normally not going to one-shot people anyway. So you still want to give the kills to your carries. In this case, it's mainly the Aurelion Sol, and despite the Ezreal's like kind of quote-unquote poor skills, the fact that Aurelion came and ganked a couple of times actually got him a big enough lead that when he tries to like 1v1 the Caitlyn or something like that, he actually wins. So he's actually pretty fat as well. He's 7-4-3. In terms of gold, he's only slightly behind Aurelion. So he's actually doing really well as well. Now here I'm just getting chains. You see here I'm gonna ult out. On the way out, I actually hit the Olaf with the ulti, and I end up picking up the kill on him. Garen's on the chase here, knock up onto Garen, chain CC with the Aurelion Sol. Garen splashes the wall, has to run away, and here the fight kind of extends even more. Tried to put the belt in to engage, but ends up hitting nobody, and here, really nice pull by Vladimir to avoid my W, so I end up not hitting him as well. And now we're actually pretty low. Caitlyn tries to flash in, but I hit my Q to actually save the Aurelion with the heal. And here I try to actually go in on the Caitlyn, but I end up going into the trap instead. Thankfully, Ezreal does finish off the kill on Caitlyn, and we're all good. So here we're gonna back. We have of course our fully upgraded support item. We have the Luden's Echo. We have of course the mana boots into the Pearl Belt, and now we're of course building towards the Infinity Orb. Of course, this build is really only gonna get stronger in next patch, because this build does not involve going for Void Staff. And next patch, we are of course gonna get the magic pen. Percent magic pen on every magic damage item. So this build is really only gonna get stronger on AP Rakan, which is kind of insane. But yeah. So here Vladimir tries to go in and doesn't really get anything, unfortunately for him. And yeah, actually speaking of the Void Staff thing, in this particular match, I actually do end up going for Void Staff because enemy team ends up being really tanky. Garen's really tanky. Olaf is really tanky. He has the Wit's End and all that kind of good stuff. So we actually do end up going for Void Staff in this match because your last item is kind of flex. After your Ludens into your Infinity Orb into your Death Cap, your last item is actually really flex between like Crystalline Reflector, Banshee's Veil, Void Staff, Morellonomicon, that kind of thing. I normally never go for Void Staff. This is like the first time playing AP Rakan that I've actually decided to go for Void Staff because I most of the time think that the other items are better, and you're not really focused on doing damage to tanks anyway, because you normally want to one-shot the ADC or the mage, who's not going to have damage magic resistance. You need a Void Staff anyways. But in this match we actually do go for that, but of course in 4.4 this is not really going to be a thing anymore because Void Staff will not exist, at least according to the leaks. So here Aurelion once again just really dominating the enemy team. Here I was trying to go in for a play because I had my ult, I had my W, but I really could not find the angle to go in, so I end up just dashing around and doing nothing much. Olaf pops the Righteous Glory, but here you can see I have enough damage now to one-shot the Caitlyn in the back like 100-0 with the help of the Ignite as well. And I end up accidentally KSing the kill onto the Olaf for a double. But I guess nice injection of gold for us. Wukong goes in onto the Vladimir. I try to knock him up, but not really in range. Garen tries to go in. Don't know why the enemy team is deciding to 2v4, but Garen pretty much just gives up at this point. He probably actually could have walked out because he had Hullbreaker and he's really tanky. I think he actually could have escaped, but I think he just gave up there. Here with the 4 members of the enemy team dead, it's a golden opportunity to just take their inhib, so we're going to do exactly just that. Secure the inhib. Seraphine all hits onto everybody, but no follow-up, no nothing. Doesn't really matter, just delays us for a second. And now we are going to all just pretty much escape. Aurelion Sol with a very greedy back there does cancel it so he doesn't get caught. And now we are all just going to go back. Of course, complete items based off of those kills. Infinity Orb completed on our end. And yeah, we're doing pretty well. Of course, Aurelion Sol is the main man in this match. He's 13-1-8. We just want to pretty much just stay with him and make sure that, either we can die for him or we can help him set up more kills. Because he's going to, of course, be the one to carry our team. Honestly, at this point, even Ezreal's not doing too bad anymore, so we could actually support Ezreal if we wanted to. But, I'd rather just support Aurelion Sol, who we obviously know is a better player. Here I'm actually trying to catch out Caitlyn. I could have actually just gone in there for the one shot, but I decided just not to do it because I think that there's gonna be a better opportunity to kill more people. Caitlyn's honestly not a threat at this point. Here I end up just going for the one shot on Seraphine instead, mainly because I could hit the Garen as well. Here, once again, Olaf is just running us down. I'm, just getting out of there. And now that I'm kind of safe, I decided I could actually turn back for the CC. Here, CC goes onto Garen. I get the knock up onto Olaf instead of Garen. Garen does go down. And here, I'm just giving the shields. Now, Olaf is just running us down again. And I have to run away from Olaf for the second time in the same fight. And here, Ezreal wasn't even in the fight with us, which is probably why the fight was so hard. If Ezreal was here, that definitely we would have rolled over that fight. But yeah, so still ends up going relatively favorably for us, I guess. Although Aurelion Sol did lose his shutdown, so maybe that's not too good. But here we pick up our not Rod of Ages, our needlessly large rod, and here Ezreal just solo kills the Caitlyn. Here I'm just sticking around to see if anyone's gonna go for Ezreal, because if they do, I can just engage on them and kill them, but no one actually takes the bait. Really important thing here is to get the sweeper to sweep out wards, because Rakan, you generally want to camp in bushes, and when you camp in the bushes, you can of course set traps for enemy team, one-shot them, or at least get a good chunk or get an engage for your team. Dragon is up, so this is the very obvious thing to do. Here I'm just using our Q to heal Ezreal, because Ezreal is pretty low, so notice how we are walking to him so that the Q will proc on him and not the Nautilus. And Ezreal's pretty much back to full health at this point. Aurelion Sol is just going in and having some fun. Here he one-shot the Vladimir here, who does not end up hitting his pool. And look at that first strike goal, by the way. It's 131 first strike goal for just one-shotting one Vladimir. If you hit that on an enemy team, that's going to be 500 goal at least. So here, anyways, Olaf tries to go in 1v3 or 1v4 at this point. It doesn't really work out. Ends up getting shut down by Ezreal. Wukong tries to go in onto Caitlyn under the tower, which honestly I think that if he had ult, I think that he actually could have killed Caitlyn there, but he does not, so not quite. So here we are picking up the second inhibitor tower of the game, and honestly at this point in time the game looks really textbook. But obviously based on the time left on this video, you will see that this match goes on for another 10 minutes. Mainly because my team kind of does things like this, where they're just overstaying in the base, and I don't know really what we're doing here. We should just be going for Baron. I'm just trying to ping for Baron, but you can see that my team's just staying around in the base, and now we're just getting engaged on. Wukong does end up dying. I'm really low as well. I'm trying to escape. Managed to get the Proto Belt out for the escape, and getting a little bit of this plant to restore a little bit of my health. But my team just refuses to go for the Baron, or refuses to really do anything other than just trying to run down the enemy team. So here I'm just going to go for the one-shot on the Caitlyn and try to do it on the Vladimir, but he's a little bit too high health. Now I'm going to just dash out here. Of course, getting the heal. 200 plus gold there off of the 2-man engage. And here it's me and Aurelion who is strong. Here I'm trying to see if we can get onto the Olaf. I end up doing no damage to Olaf though. That's kind of the issue. And Aurelion doesn't have really the damage to kill him either. So this is kind of the point where I'm going okay, I think I need a Void Staff. And the main reason I think I need this is because the squishy targets in this case are not the threats. Caitlyn is 1 in 10. She's not really the problem. Seraphine is 4 in 9. She's not really the problem either. And Vladimir could be a problem later on. He's 3, 5, and 3 for now. But the main problem now is the Olaf. He's 12, 9, and 2 with 16k gold, which is 5k gold higher than anyone on his team, and about the same as Aurelion. And Garen, in the meanwhile, he's also not doing too well, but he's also really tanky. So really, the Olaf is the main guy we need to get rid of, and for that we need to one-shot him, and to one-shot him we need Void Staff. So this is kind of where I decide, we really need the Void Staff. And yeah, so that's exactly what we're going to go for. So here we've actually taken out basically the entire enemy team, except for Caitlyn and Garen, and here we should be able to get a free Elder Dragon into Baron. And honestly, at this point, this should be a really easy win at this point. We have triple Dragon, Elder Dragon, and now we're gonna get Baron. This kind of game looks like it's gonna end in the next 1 minute or 2 minutes. But obviously disaster happens, and that does not quite happen. But here we're gonna see what happens. So here, we are trying to take the Baron, but Aurelion Sol gets impatient, Wukong gets impatient, and they decide to go int it down mid. And I say int because in reality, you really should not be going mid when your whole team is going Baron. So they make a really stupid play, and they both donate their lives over to the enemy team. And this is a huge blunder. Because the two of them are dead, now we can't make use of our Elder and our Baron because we are at a numbers disadvantage. We're 3v5 now, and they too don't have Elder Dragon anymore when they respawn. And we're wasting our Baron timer, we're wasting our Elder Dragon timer, and this is really the disaster we're referring to. And this is out of our control because our teammates are not listening to us. The best I can hope for is to one-shot someone here, but that's not really happening. Nautilus is end up overcommitting onto trying to kill Caitlyn or Seraphine, who again is not really even that valuable, and he's gonna get run down by the Olaf, who's obviously running towards him. Here I'm trying to see if I can help him out. So here I decide to do the only thing I can, which is to try to combo their team. Of course, I'm able to dash out to the Nautilus, and I still have my flash to get away, as well as my Proto Belt if I need it. So here, that's pretty much the best I could do. Just, try to distract the enemy team a bit. Not very successful. But yeah, so now this is the second mistake. While my Wukong and Aurelion did the original mistake of dying, my Ezreal and Nautilus decided it was a good idea for them to go in, 2v5 and die as well. So it just, yeah, I mean, this is like shaping up to be a huge throw. Like, what is my team doing? Why are we doing this? Like, why are we not just grouping up, ending the game altogether? Like, this game could have been over at this point. But my team decides they want to troll the game. Wukong gets caught, dies again. And it's just becoming a cycle of 2 people die, the other 2 people go in, and they die, and like they respawn and die. And like, there's never 5 people alive on my team because every time 2 people are dead. It's just a disaster. Like, here at this point, we almost have triple inhib. Like, that's how hard we're winning, but my team is just not playing together. They're just playing individually. So here, I see a very low Vladimir. I wanted to one-shot him, but I end up hitting Seraphine instead, which, yeah, okay, sure, I'll take that. Olaf is now doing his thing by running us down. Of course, Aurelion Sol can't ult him away because he's unstoppable. He kills me as well, and nearly kills Ezreal. Chunks him low enough for Vladimir to now kill Ezreal. Nautilus is the last man standing. Nautilus dies as well, and you can see how the game is just slowly starting to get thrown. Like, of course, I still think Caitlyn is really useless. Vladimir is now not useless anymore. He's now like basically full build. Caitlyn is kind of getting up there in terms of her build as well. She's 4 items in already as well. And Olaf, of course, is the main man who's carrying the enemy team. He's a major issue. Here, Wukong goes all in a 1v2 onto Garen and Caitlyn, gets the kill onto Caitlyn, tries to chase after Garen. I'm not sure why they showed the Elder Dragon indicator, because Wukong doesn't have Elder Dragon, and no one on our team has Elder Dragon anymore, which is really weird. But yeah, so here, the Baron is spawning again. Elder Dragon is going to come up somewhat soon as well. And here Wukong tries to 1v1 of Vladimir, which I really don't think is a good idea, because late game Vladimir does that kind of damage. So here, instead, now we have Aurelion Sol going in for the Vladimir, does get the kill. Getting run down by Olaf again. Here I put about for the engage. Don't quite manage to one-shot the Seraphine. And I end up actually baiting Aurelion Sol to go in, and he ends up dying, which is pretty bad. And we finally kill the Olaf here. Garen is really overextended. Ezreal has the mobility, and I'm giving him the shielding. So Garen actually escapes on like 1 HP. You can't even see his health bar, by the way. But here, I'm not going to waste time chasing Garen. We're just going to clear up this minion wave. We really want to end the game here before we end up like actually throwing the game completely. Here I spot the enemy bot lane. I'm trying to engage on them, but they end up a little bit out of range. Ezreal doesn't hit the R either. And it's becoming another situation where we need to back off and get objectives. Like, what you see, we're still hanging around here. Nautilus and Ezreal, like, what are these people doing? I'm pinging for Elder Dragon, but Nautilus and Ezreal refuses to leave the base. And Nautilus is a jungler. He pops the stasis, and it's gonna be a disaster. He's dead. And both objectives are up, and we don't have our jungler. You can really see here that this game was really meant to be very simple. The game should have been over like 5 minutes ago, or like 4 minutes ago. But my team is just like hardcore throwing the game at every available opportunity. They're making the game so difficult when it really is a very easy game. So here Wukong's kind of baiting the enemy team into us, and here Olaf does not get the ult yet. Now he goes for ult. Here I'm biding my time, waiting to see whether I can one-shot someone. Obviously not the Garen, but here I go for the one-shot onto the Caitlyn. Ezreal does manage to get the R across to get the one-shot. And here there's no point going for the dragon because our jungle is dead. And we don't want to end up giving the enemy team the dragon. We don't want to 50-50 it. So instead we're just going to maintain pressure on to their base. I try to go for the Vlad, but he ends up getting a nice pull. 4-man charm into the 4-man stun by the Seraphine, and we all end up dying. Really beautiful combo by the Seraphine. Ends up killing us all. Aurelion Sol is now in trouble again. He's trying to kite away the best he can. Does end up being pretty successful, honestly. And Nautilus has now just respawned. So now Nautilus and Aurelion Sol are trying to 2-man the Elder Dragon. And this is a really bad idea because 3 of us are dead. You can see the enemy team, Olaf and Caitlyn has just respawned. They're just gonna walk over to the Elder Dragon, and you know, our 2 team members are gonna die, and we're just gonna donate an Elder Dragon to them. So that's not what we want. So we want them. Okay, what we need them to do now is to waste enough time for the rest of the team to respawn, and ideally not let the enemy team get the Elder Dragon. You can see Olaf here is going for the Elder Dragon. Thankfully, he is soloing the Elder Dragon. So you can see here he's not doing it that quickly. So here now we're all respawning. We're making a beeline to the Elder Dragon. We need to stop this Olaf from getting the Elder Dragon. The rest of his team is too busy clearing waves to help him DPS. Caitlyn finally shows up to the party. Caitlyn does go down. Elder Dragon is really low. I flash over to try to one-shot the Olaf. We get the Elder Dragon either way. Olaf does end up going down. And Vladimir is now getting caught. So we're trying to find the pick onto Vladimir. He pulls my knockup once again. Really annoying. And he somehow manages to kill me. I mean, I say somehow, but in reality, he's like full build. So that's not exactly very surprising. So he does end up managing to kill me. And I do go down. But at this point, finally, we're able to end the game. So that does not really matter. Holy moly. This was a really difficult game when it could have been really easy. But anyways, there we have it. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual here. Obviously, Aurelion Soul carry does really hard. But you can really see how First Strike Rakan kind of works. Like, all the gold you get, all the like one-shots you can get. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the stats. And goodbye.